the three had finished their discussion, their gazes locked onto him. "Do it!" Yi growled. Lu Yinghao struck first. His 5 fingers were clenched together, and he stabbed Yi and Xue Miao in the waist. Poisonous Doctor, Lu Yinghao, trait system ability user. His bodily fluids can be turned into lethal poisons, or into potions that strengthen the body. As soon as the battle began, he injected his 2 companions with adrenaline, to increase their physical alertness, which greatly enhanced their mobility and even improved their senses by several levels. And of course, he himself was also maximally enhanced. After being enhanced, Xue Miao pulled a dagger with a bluish glow from his tactical backpack. A raging whirlwind sprang up around his body, enveloping the 3 of them. Zhang Yi, however, did not move at all, and even leisurely pulled out his 2 silver pistols, the White Eagle, from dimensional space. After thinking for a moment, he loaded them with holy silver bullets. Just as he was reloading his bullets, a gust of wind rushed towards him, and the entire training ground was filled with madness. The surging air currents even had a huge impact on his vision. Xue Miao took advantage of the wind and arrived in front of Zhang Yi in an instant. Xue Miao, an ability user who has released the department, has the ability code Wind Runner and can manipulate the power of the storm. He is good at assassinations. In an instant, with the help of the gusty wind, he reached the back of Zhang Yi. The dagger in his hand, glowing with blue light, stabbed fiercely at the back of Zhang Yi's neck. Zhang Yi didn't seem to notice, and without even turning his head, he didn't make any reactionary movements. But the next moment, the dagger stabbed into a void, and the tip of the dagger suddenly disappeared into the air. Ha! Xue Miao's pupils suddenly contracted, and he sensed the danger. But his movements were too fast, and his entire right arm had already disappeared into Zhang Yi's dimensional space. Oh no! Xue Miao was shocked, and hurriedly tried to pull away. Although he didn't know what Zhang Yi's ability was, his intuition told him that if he entered that strange space, his ending would be very miserable. But at this moment, a black muzzle was aimed at his head. Zhang Yi didn't even turn his head, and after the huge muzzle of the White Eagle was aimed at his head, he didn't hesitate to pull the trigger. Damn it! Xue Miao gritted his teeth, and the howling wind around him intensified. His figure disappeared in an instant, and when he reappeared, he was already tens of meters away. Bang! The sound of the gunshot echoed through the training ground, and the bullet hit the opposite wall, sending sparks flying. Xue Miao's eyes showed a cautious expression. Space ability? I can't even get close to attack, so how am I going to fight? He was an assassin, and his speed and strange body movements were his most advantageous weapons for killing with one strike. However, Zhang Yi was particularly good at restraining this. His defense must have a flaw. I must find his flaw first. Xue Miao thought. Zhang Yi, however, raised the corners of his mouth and looked at Xue Miao, who had fled in a panic, with a smile. That shot was just a warning. That warning was a really close call. He almost couldn't help but kill Xue Miao. Out of instinct, Zhang Yi was particularly sensitive to attacks from behind. But before he pulled the trigger, he remembered that these guys would cause him trouble if they died. So he didn't use his ability to accelerate 20 times. Otherwise, within less than 7 steps, his gun would be fast and accurate. Xue Miao couldn't escape no matter how fast he was. Just a small lesson will do. Zhang Yi rarely showed compassion. Xue Miao immediately conveyed his thoughts to Yi and Lu Yinghao. His ability is strange, it should be a space ability. My close-range attack was absorbed. The other dimension has no ability to actively attack, let alone absorb living creatures directly. However, once someone actively enters it, their life and death will rest firmly in Zhang Yi's hands. If Xue Miao had not reacted in time, he would already be Zhang Yi's prey. After hearing Xue Miao's words, Lu Yinghao said solemnly, "Let me test him." He took out a dagger and quickly slashed his palm open. A bloody trail appeared, but no blood flowed. Instead, streams of bloody mist flew out of the wound like swarms of insects, turning into a red mist that then swept towards Zhang Yi along with the hurricane. Lu Yinghao's own blood could turn into a deadly poison that penetrated the intestines. It only needs to come into contact with human skin to quickly penetrate and kill the other person. The red mist instantly surrounded Zhang Yi. Lu Yinghao tried to use this method to test out Zhang Yi's weak points. However, Zhang Yi remained calm, slowly raising his hands, and the two white eagles began to fire at their bodies. As long as they don't die, no matter how serious the injuries are, the medical center in Blizzard City can save them. If they are disabled, so be it. The red mist disappeared completely into Zhang Yi's dimensional space, causing no harm to Zhang Yi. However, the holy silver bullets, like streaks of light, pierced the storm and shot sharply at the three of them. The holy silver bullets, precision shots, and a 20-fold increase in speed combined to create a killing move with a range that seemed to extend infinitely. A move that even high-level Delta mutants would be afraid to face head-on. The holy silver bullet shot at the three people, who quickly dodged. The bullets shot out like a silver rainstorm, making it impossible to defend against. Fortunately, all three had been enhanced with adrenaline by Lu Yinghao, which made their reactions fast enough. Therefore, they narrowly avoided the first round of shooting, but it was also quite embarrassing. Can't you find his weak spot? Impossible. As long as he's human, he will definitely have a weakness. Yi said with unyielding determination. A dark shadow flickered beneath his feet, like an evil spirit waiting in the wings. However, he had not yet found Zhang Yi's weak point, and could not act lightly. Doing so would only reveal his own hand. However, Bai Li Changqing saw this scene and shook his head helplessly. There's one thing they don't know. If they knew, they wouldn't be so foolish as to challenge Zhang Yi. Liang Yu looked at him and said, "What is it?" Bai Li Changqing looked at Zhang Yi in the middle of the field, who was calm and collected and indifferent to whatever kind of attack he faced. He said slowly, "In the official information, Zhang Yi's ability code name is Absolute Defense. The abilities of these three people are like free meals for him. There's only one way to break through Zhang Yi's ability, and that is to use extremely powerful strength to break through the threshold of dimensional space and absorb energy all at once. This causes the dimensional gates to temporarily become ineffective. However, in terms of Zhang Yi's current strength, the only way to do this is for an extremely powerful ability user in the release department or the trait system, and they must be on the same level as him, or even above him. This is the strength of a captain-level mutant who specializes in defense." Bai Li Changqing let out a sigh. Zhang Yi may not necessarily be able to kill his opponents when fighting them. However, he is extremely difficult to kill. Zhang Yi's gaze was calm as he stared at the three people in front of him, and the bullets in his hand were fired mercilessly. The White Eagle pistol is mainly used for close combat, which is more convenient. However, in terms of power, it is less than 1/10 of Thunderstrike. However, Zhang Yi does not dare to use Thunderstrike easily, especially when sparring with his teammates. He was afraid that he would blow these people to pieces if he wasn't careful. Even so, the three men were in a terrible state of disarray as they fled. Xue Miao's divine movement technique was completely useless against Zhang Yi. Even if he could get close, he couldn't find a weak spot to attack. Lu Yinghao's ability was even more useless. He could only release poison through physical means, and Zhang Yi was immune to this method. Only Yi had not yet activated his ability and was biding his time. However, Zhang Yi had all their information in his head. Yi, release department mutant, ability code name, Phantom Killer. He can kill using shadows, with a range of 300 meters. He can also use shadows to switch places with people. In essence, he is also an assassin. Assassins like nothing more than to wait for their moment. However, if he is facing a mutant whose main focus is defense, then his ability becomes incredibly useless. Of course, they can also choose to escape. If it were in the middle of a battlefield, Zhang Yi would not like to chase after the enemy. However, right now, they are all in a training ground as big as 4 basketball courts. Yi and the other two cannot escape if they want to challenge Zhang Yi. Then they will just be 3 sitting ducks. From the very beginning, Zhang Yi had everything calculated in his head. If he wasn't 100% sure he could win this battle, he wouldn't have accepted the challenge of 1-on-3. Bang! 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 The holy silver bullet's light continued to cut through space, and the three of them were already using all their strength just to dodge the bullet's trajectories. And the adrenaline is like a stimulant, it's more like an enhanced stimulant that can temporarily enhance a person's overall ability. However, the price is that after the effect wears off, the body will be in a very weak state. Nowadays, Zhang Yi's bullets have forced them to overdraw the effect. Damn, there's no way to get close. And even if we could get close, we don't know how to break through his defenses. What the hell is that power? Is there really no weak spot? The three of them had never come into contact with Zhang Yi before. If they had watched the match between Zhang Yi and Wu Di, they would have some idea of Zhang Yi's abilities. In the eyes of Bai Li Chongqing, Liang Yu, and the others, this battle was very comical. Yi He and the others were like three monkeys, jumping up and down to avoid Zhang Yi's bullet attacks. They were at a loss, and had no good way to defend against Zhang Yi's bullets. However, Zhang Yi had an overwhelming amount of bullets in his hands, and there were simply too many to use up. He had Liu Karen and also had control over the vast resources of Tianhai City, which was equivalent to having an inexhaustible arsenal. Zhang Yi is releasing an ocean of bullets. Liang Yu said helplessly, covering her head with her hands. His real moves, whether divine might or void spear, can instantly kill the three in front of him no matter which one is used. But now Zhang Yi is only using a gun against them, as if an adult was teasing three naughty children. She even felt a little sorry for these three arrogant guys. After 2 rounds of design, Yi He and the others felt extremely suffocated. But the speed of their bodies also slowed down as the effects of the adrenaline wore off. Xue Miao was the first to be shot, and his leg was pierced by the holy silver bullet, leaving a bullet hole that went through the front and back. Ah! He let out a painful cry, and his body fell directly to the ground. Zhang Yi aimed his gun at his head, and then shot it at the floor next to his ear. The smoke billowed, and Xue Miao was so scared that cold sweat poured down his face. No, 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 I give up, I give up. He just wanted to negotiate some benefits with Zhang Yi, and had no intention of really fighting to the death with Zhang Yi. So when he saw the situation was not good at this time, he immediately came out and defected. Seeing that Xue Miao had surrendered, Yi He and Lu Yinghao were also anxious. As the weakest member of the Heavenly God Squad, Lu Yinghao knew that the general trend could not be defied, and decisively clicked to surrender. Captain, I admit defeat. I definitely am not your match. He raised his hands and obediently retreated to the sidelines. Life is about being happy and having fun, not about risking your life. Yi gritted his teeth and muttered angrily, useless. Under his feet, his shadow twisted and deformed at will, and then by using the position interchange between the human body and the shadow, he precisely avoided Zhang Yi's barrage of bullets shot round after round. Zhang Yi couldn't help but admire him a little. This guy is worthy of being a mid-level member of the Heavenly God Squad. He really does have some skills. Zhang Yi, although here you have taken advantage of the rules to gain the upper hand, but in the battlefield, can you keep hiding out there, never coming out? If I were to flee, what would you do? Yi sneered, unable to find Zhang Yi's weak point. He still felt unconvinced. He believed that Zhang Yi had taken advantage of the geographical advantage. However, he did not understand that a true master knows how to make good use of everything around them.